Alright, let's dive into a rather peculiar intersection of worlds. We're talking about the dynamic, often baffling, relationship between two figures who loom large in the public consciousness, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. This isn't your standard political commentary or business analysis. We're going to approach this through a specific lens. Our framework for understanding their interaction will be the combined perspectives of astrology and spiritual analysis. The purpose here is multifaceted. It's certainly for entertainment, because let's be honest, their public spats provide plenty of that. But it's also for analysis, attempting to find deeper patterns. And crucially, it's for discussion, inviting different interpretations. We'll be exploring the kinds of key arguments and points that emerge when you apply these ancient and esoteric systems to modern, highly public figures. What insights might they offer? What patterns might they reveal that aren't immediately obvious? The overall scope is to examine their public dynamic. We're looking at the perceived energy between them, the potential underlying motivations, and the roles they might be playing, both on a mundane level and perhaps, just perhaps, on a more cosmic one. Let's begin with the stars themselves. Astrology offers a complex map of personality and potential dynamics. We'll consider what an astrological analysis of these two individuals might entail. First, Donald Trump. His astrological chart is widely available and much discussed. What does it suggest about his core nature? His sun sign is Gemini. This points to a fundamental nature that is communicative, adaptable, and often dualistic. Geminis are known for their quick wit and ability to juggle multiple ideas, sometimes simultaneously. His moon sign is Leo. The moon represents our emotional core and instinctive reactions. A Leo moon suggests a need for recognition, a flair for the dramatic, and a deeply felt sense of pride and self-expression. His rising sign, or ascendant, is also Leo. This is the mask we show the world, how we are perceived upon first meeting. A Leo rising reinforces the themes of presence, authority, and a desire to be seen and admired. Looking at key planetary placements, Mars in Leo adds fuel to the fire, indicating a forceful, dramatic assertion of will. Mercury in Cancer suggests communication filtered through emotion and personal feeling, perhaps sensitive to perceived slights. Jupiter in Libra points to expansive ideas about fairness or relationships, though often interpreted through a personal lens. Significant astrological aspects in his chart, such as the conjunction of Mars and the ascendant in Leo, amplify his assertive and self-focused public persona. The opposition between his Sun in Gemini and Moon in Leo highlights an internal tension between his adaptable mind and his need for emotional validation and recognition. Based on these chart factors, the overall astrological personality traits often attributed to Trump include a powerful, attention-grabbing presence, a need to be center stage, a highly reactive emotional nature, and a communication style that can be both clever and emotionally driven. Now, let's turn to Elon Musk. His chart presents a different cosmic blueprint. His sun sign is Cancer. This suggests a core nature that is sensitive, intuitive, and potentially focused on building or nurturing, though perhaps on a grand scale. Cancers can be protective and driven by deep emotional currents. His moon sign is Virgo. This indicates an emotional nature that is analytical, practical, and concerned with details and improvement. His feelings might be processed through a logical, problem-solving filter. His rising sign is Scorpio. This ascendant suggests a public persona that is intense, private, and focused on transformation and power. Scorpio rising individuals often project an aura of depth and control. Key planetary placements in his chart are also telling. Mars in Virgo points to energy and drive directed towards meticulous work and problem-solving. Mercury in Cancer, like Trump, suggests communication influenced by feeling, but perhaps more intuitively or protectively expressed. Jupiter in Cancer further emphasizes themes of growth and expansion tied to security, home, or perhaps foundational structures. Significant astrological aspects in Musk's chart, such as the conjunction of his Sun and Mercury in Cancer, highlight a strong connection between his core identity and his communication style, making his words deeply personal. The opposition between his Moon in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces suggests a tension between his need for practical order and a sense of boundarylessness or idealism. Based on these factors, the overall astrological personality traits often attributed to Musk include an intense, transformative public presence, a deeply analytical and problem-solving mind, and an emotional core that seeks practical application and improvement, often driven by powerful, underlying feelings. Understanding their individual charts is one thing, but Sinistray looks at how their charts interact. This is where the dynamic between them gets astrologically interesting. Key inter-aspects between Trump's and Musk's charts would reveal points of connection, friction, or synergy. How do their planetary energies meet? Analysis of Sunday through Sunday or Sun-Moon connections is crucial. Trump's Gemini Sun interacting with Musk's Cancer Sun might create a dynamic where Trump's adaptable communication clashes with Musk's more sensitive, foundational approach. Trump's Leo Moon meeting Musk's Cancer Sun could see Trump's need for recognition impacting Musk's emotional core. Analysis of Mars and other planet connections speaks to how their drives and assertiveness interact. Trump's Mars in Leo, dramatic action, meeting Musk's Mars in Virgo, meticulous action, could lead to frustration. One wants grand gestures, the other wants precise execution. Trump's Mars on his ascendant clashing with Musk's Scorpio ascendant could indicate a direct power struggle or clash of wills. Analysis Mercury and the other planets' connections highlight their communication dynamic. Both having Mercury in Cancer suggests a potential for intuitive understanding, but also the risk of taking things personally or communicating indirectly. How does Trump's Mercury interact with Musk's Mars or Saturn? How does Musk's Mercury interact with Trump's Leo placements? Analysis of outer planet connections, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, reveals generational influences and deeper, slower-moving dynamics between them. For instance, how does Trump's Jupiter in Libra interact with Musk's Saturn in Pisces? How do their Plutonian energies, power, transformation, align or conflict? The astrological interpretation of their dynamic or conflict, based on these interactions, would likely point to a relationship marked by significant friction, particularly around communication, ego, and the assertion of will. It might suggest a dynamic where their core natures and public personas are fundamentally at odds, leading to public clashes and misunderstandings, despite potential areas of shared interest or intuitive connection. Moving beyond the celestial mechanics, let's consider a spiritual perspective. This is inherently more speculative and open to interpretation. From a spiritual viewpoint, what might be said about Donald Trump's role or path? Discussion of Trump's potential karmic path might involve considering the lessons he is here to learn or teach. Is he embodying certain collective shadows for examination? Is his path one of confronting ego or power dynamics? Interpretation of Trump's sole purpose, as presented in various spiritual analyses, often centers on disruption or acting as a catalyst. Is he here to shake up established systems, forcing a re-evaluation of norms and power structures? His energetic signature or role attributed to Trump is frequently described as embodying a raw, unfiltered energy. He might be seen as an archetype of the trickster, the king, or the disruptor, reflecting back aspects of the collective consciousness. Similarly, what spiritual interpretations might apply to Elon Musk? Discussion of Musk's potential karmic path could focus on innovation, pushing boundaries, or the responsible, or irresponsible, use of immense power and resources. Is he grappling with lessons around creation, control, or the future of humanity? Interpretation of Musk's sole purpose often revolves around being a visionary or a bridge builder to new eras. Is his purpose to accelerate technological evolution, challenge limitations, or embody the spirit of relentless progress? His energetic signature or role attributed to Musk is often seen as embodying intense focus, visionary drive, and a transformative force. He might be viewed as an archetype of the inventor, the futurist, or the alchemist, seeking to transmute the present into something radically new. Considering their spiritual roles, what might be the nature of the dynamic between them? Analysis of their energetic compatibility or clash would look at how these perceived energies interact. Does Trump's disruptive, unfiltered energy clash with Musk's intense, transformative drive? Or do they, in some strange way, amplify each other's roles as agents of change or chaos? Interpretation of their interaction in a larger spiritual context might see them as playing out archetypal conflicts on a public stage. Are they embodying opposing forces necessary for collective evolution or awakening? Are they catalysts for different aspects of societal transformation? Discussion of roles they might play could frame them as specific types of catalysts or archetypes. Perhaps Trump represents the dismantling of old structures, while Musk represents the, sometimes chaotic, building of new ones. They might be seen as embodying different facets of power, influence, and the future direction of society. Bringing these threads together, how do the astrological and spiritual perspectives inform each other? How astrology and spirituality complement or differ in this analysis is a key point. Astrology provides a potential map of inherent tendencies and interaction styles based on birth data. Spirituality offers a more narrative, purpose-driven interpretation of the roles these individuals might be playing on a larger stage. Astrology might show how their energies clash, for instance, Mars in Leo versus Mars in Virgo, while spirituality might suggest why they are clashing, embodying different necessary forces for change. The astrological chart could be seen as the vehicle or personality structure through which the spiritual purpose is expressed, however consciously or unconsciously. It's crucial to acknowledge that these analyses are not monolithic. There are always alternative interpretations. Mention of alternative astrological readings is important. Different astrologers might emphasize different aspects, use different house systems, or have varying interpretations of specific placements or aspects. An alternative reading might focus more on different planetary cycles affecting them, or see different synastry aspects as more dominant. Mention of alternative spiritual interpretations is equally vital. Spiritual perspectives are diverse and highly personal. One interpretation might see these figures as purely negative forces, while another might see them as necessary evolutionary agents. Different spiritual traditions would offer entirely different frameworks for understanding their roles or karmic paths. Ultimately, applying these lenses to public figures like Trump and Musk is an exercise in seeking patterns and potential meaning in the apparent chaos of public life. Whether seen through the deterministic lens of the stars or the narrative lens of spiritual purpose, their dynamic offers fertile ground for analysis, speculation, and plenty of debate. What are your thoughts on the connection between political figures and astrology? I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.